Better bones. We've talked about this several times already. Today we're taking a different tack on better bones. We're going to look at balance. One of the reasons why you want to have better bones, which means more dense, stronger bones, so that if you should fall, the bones aren't going to break. So we've done several things to improve the density of your bones using some Qigong methodologies to do that. And to find out more detail about that, look at some of our previous videos in the Better Bones series. In this video, we're going to turn our focus to balance. So we have better bones, we have stronger bones, but we still don't want to fall down. We don't want to take the risk that if we should fall, our bones will break. And besides, falling, even if the bones don't break, still hurts. So let's try and see what we can do in our Better Bones series to reduce our risk of falling by improving our balance. Hi, I'm Jack Godfrey with Southdale Wellness, and this is the Better Bones series, which appears on YouTube on Wednesdays, at least once a week. So there's only one Wednesday in the week. So anyway, there we are. Now let's get on with our Better Bones series, looking at balance. And of course, as you probably won't be surprised, we start from the foundation and we work up. Better bones, better balance. So today we're going to be looking at the balancing aspect of better bones, preventing falls, preventing our bones from breaking. So we're going to start with our foundation, and that's our feet. And so what they're doing when they're on the floor and how it helps us keep our balance. So we want to start today with having our feet in the narrow stance. So outside of hips, outside of feet, one above the other. And so there's going to be some space between your feet as well. So just to get set the feet up correctly, or the most appropriate way is pick a foot. Lift the toes, lift the heel. So now all the weight's over on this leg here. The heel is up, the knee is bent, and the toes are up. We're resting on the ball joint of the foot. Now swing the heel around towards the other foot, towards the ball joint. And it may overlap, there may be a slight gap. But what you're looking for in the ideal situation is to have the heel come to the floor beside the ball joint of the other foot. And so that we have the feet now, one straight ahead and one out to the side. And then this knee is still bent. This leg has all the weight. Now lift the toes, lift the heel again, so we're resting on the ball joint. Swing the heel around and put the foot down so the feet are more or less parallel. And so this is the spacing we're looking for. It's known as the narrow stance, the ready stance, just standing up with my feet under my hips. And you want to have the feet more or less parallel. Now this is going to depend what's going on with your hips, your knees, and your ankles. If setting the feet up like this hurts, well, adjust them so that hurt goes away. You want to be comfortable in this stance. So if you need to turn the feet out a little bit and you go, oh, this is so much better, well, that's where you should put your feet. But if you can, have the feet straight ahead. But a comfort, no pain, is the key here. Now, what we're looking at next is the small triangle and the large triangle. So the small triangle, this is in the feet. So the small triangle in your feet consists of the big toe, the little toe, and the ball joint. So the big toe, little toe, and the ball joint. And now you put your weight, shift your weight into your toes, keep the heels on the floor, the knees are slightly bent. So the pressure's in the front of the foot. Big toe, little toe, ball joint, small triangle. Now the large triangle, you shift the weight into the heels, but the toes stay on the floor. So big toe, little toe, heel. This is the large triangle. So you come forward, put weight on the toes and the ball joint. So this is the small triangle, big toe, little toe, heel. Sorry, that's the large triangle. Big toe, little toe, and the ball joint, the front of the foot, that's the small triangle. Big toe, little toe, heel, that's the large triangle. So what we're doing is we're putting weight in the front of the feet while keeping our heels on the floor. And then we shift the weight into the heels while keeping our toes on the floor. Now let's look at it from the side. So we're here. Feet are still set up in that stance where, the outside of the hips, outside of the feet, one above the other. Now put the weight in the toes. Big toe, little toe, and the ball joint, the front of the foot. Shift the weight into the heels. Big toe, little toe, heel. This is the large triangle. So you come forward onto the small triangle, and we drift back onto the large triangle. And as you saw when looking from the side, the feet stay flat to the floor. So I'm shifting weight into the toes, and I'm shifting weight into the heels. So what's the good of all this? Well, what we're doing is we're teaching our body, teaching ourselves, our mind, and our physical body, where is the weight in our feet? Are we in our toes on the small triangle? Or are we back in our heels on the large triangle? So if I should suddenly take a slip, a stumble, whatever is happening when I'm out walking about, if I am very familiar with where is my weight in my feet, it will help me recover faster from a sudden movement. And so then you want to sink into the heel and maybe bend that knee a little bit when this leg goes sliding out from under. So if you're more comfortable with where is my weight in my feet, well, then you will recover quicker. Now, we're going to introduce a few Qigong movements, 3, that will help us with becoming familiar with where's our weight in our feet. And the first one is standing on a boat. So for this guy, you put weight on the toes, you lift the arms, and we bring them up about shoulder height. So we are on the small triangle here. And then exhale, we lower the arms, and the weight shifts into the large triangle. So we lift the gaze. As we lift the arms, we shift the weight into the toes. And then exhale. We lower the arms, we lower the gaze, we shift the weight into the heels. So as the inhale, we come forward, the heels stay on the floor. Exhale, we drift back, the toes stay on the floor. Now let's have a look from the side. So this is standing on a boat. Inhale, weight in the small triangle, the front of the foot. Exhale, weight in the large triangle, the back of the foot. So inhale, shift the weight into the toes. Exhale, we shift the weight into the heels. So inhaling and exhale. Inhale, we lift the gaze, weights in the small triangle. Exhale, we lower the gaze, weights in the large triangle. Inhale, the arms come up, and exhale, the arms come down. So we shift the weight into the small triangle, we shift the weight into the large triangle. So that's standing on a boat. Now before we move on to the other 2, I have a story to tell you that was related to me by one of my students several years ago. When she first started coming to class, she came in with 2 canes and numbness in her legs, and she sat during the entire class. Several months later, she had kept coming, once a week, twice a week when she could make it, but she came every week. And towards the end of that several months, she started standing up and working, and she was able to keep her balance because of all the stuff she had been doing, even while sitting. Several months after that, so this is like 6-8 months later, after she'd been doing Qigong with me every week, she came in and related a story about when she was out with a bunch of friends visiting someone else. And this lady is quite old as well, older than me, and I'm an old guy. And so she came in and related this story. They were leaving the friend's house, and the driveway had a bit of a slope. It was a gravel driveway. And she caught her foot. So she was about to take a step when the foot got stuck, and she started going like this. and she didn't fall. And all her friends were expecting her to fall on the ground, which this has happened to her several times in the past. But this time, she was able to keep her balance. And she attributed it to all the practice she had in Qigong in knowing where her weight is, in the feet, or in the toes, in the heels, small triangle, large triangle, and several other factors that we're going to get into in other videos around, better bones, better balance, reducing our risk of falling. So anyway, this lady came in the next class and was so excited to share with me her success in not falling down because her balance was so much improved. And she attributed it to doing Qigong. So anyway, standing on a boat is the one that we just covered. Small triangle, large triangle. So one way to look at it is we have the arms going to keep us amused while we're working on building awareness of where's our weight and our feet. The next one we're going to look at is Phoenix Ascends the Flame. So for this guy, we're here, we shift the weight into the small triangle, you reach down to the earth. So we bend the knees just a little bit. We reach down to the earth. We draw the chi up from the earth. We're on the small triangle here as we lift the arms, we lift the ribs, we lift the gaze. And then exhale. We're in the large triangle. As we bring the arms down, we lower the gaze, we draw the chi in to the brass basin. So inhale, small triangle, lift the ribs, lift the gaze. Exhale, large triangle, drop the ribs, drop the gaze. Inhale, we shift into the small triangle. Exhale, we shift into the large triangle. Now let's look at it from the side. So watch what's happening with the torso. Well, the arms are to keep us amused, but the important part is shift the weight onto the toes, onto the small triangle. Exhale, we shift the weight into the heels, into the large triangle. So inhale and exhale. Inhale, we lift the gaze, we're in the small triangle. Exhale, we lower the gaze, we're in the large triangle. So inhale, we lift up the gaze. Exhale, we lower the gaze. So once more, inhale, small triangle. Exhale, large triangle. So we've done standing on a boat, Phoenix Ascends the Flame, both of them focusing on the small triangle, large triangle. Last one we're going to look at here is called turtle back breathing. This is the third movement we're going to work on that focuses on large triangle, small triangle. So for this one, you start here. And we're in the large triangle. So weights in the heels. So big toe, little toe, and heel. And then inhale. We lift the ribs, we lift the gaze, we open the arms, and we're in the small triangle here. Stretch the front of the body. And then exhale. Stretch the back of the body. We look down to the toes. So this is large triangle. Inhale. We lift the ribs, we lift the chin, we look up. Small triangle. So let's have a look from the side. And you'll see that all three of these have the same thing going on. We're shifting the weight forward into the toes, and we're shifting the weight back into the heels. So many different ways we can get the same benefit. So we're here. We're in the large triangle. And we lift the chin, we lift the gaze. We're in the small triangle as we look up to the heavens. And then exhale. We drop the chin, we drop the gaze. We're in the large triangle. So inhale. We come forward onto the small triangle. And exhale. We come back into the large triangle. So inhale, shift the weight into the toes. Exhale, shift the weight into the heels. So inhale, we come up. And exhale, we come on down. Inhale, small triangle. Exhale, large triangle. So there you have it. Standing on a boat, this guy. Phoenix ascends the flame, this guy. And turtleback breathing. 3 Qigong movements that help you work on discovering your small triangle, your large triangle. Where's the weight in my feet when I'm moving about? If we do this enough, it'll become second nature. You won't have to think about it anymore. So when you're walking, you're going to know unconsciously that the weight's in my toes, the weight's in my heels. Where should the weight be when I am moving my foot from one place to the other? So if I'm taking a step, I land with the weight in the toes, I shift the weight into the heels, and we move on from there. So this is better bones, better balance. Reduce my risk of falling, reduce my risk of breaking bones when I fall.